Welcome, welcome, welcome to Leadershipisation, all things leadership. My name is Beth Bergen. I'm a global leadership and communication coach. And what I do is I work specifically with executives, with managers, and with business owners to help them to build their influence by developing or improving their leadership and communication skills. And the intention, the reason that we do this is so that they can lead a really cohesive team, so that they can drive the kind of results that are needed for their team. And really importantly, and this is often overlooked, they can become more visible in their organization and potentially in their industry as well. So I'm here most Tuesdays live at 1 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, which is Brisbane time at the moment. It's 2 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time, which is Sydney and Melbourne. Now, here's my question for you. Are you a leader who thinks that your impact comes mainly from what you say? Are you one of those leaders? Because if you are, you're partially right. You're partially right. The answer is yes. However, real influence is what people say and people feel after you've left the room. That's where the real leadership comes in. And that's what I call and is known by others as your leadership signature. And this is all about things like your tone of voice, the tone of the communication, your emotional energy, your ability to follow through, how safe you make people feel in your presence. All of these things contribute to your leadership signature. And obviously, the best option for you and what you most likely want as we're sitting here talking about it, strong, credible, human, calm, authoritative, but you know what? Also authentic. So we've got 6 things that we're going to talk into today. And that includes giving you a number of strategies that you can put into practice right away to build your leadership signature. So the first point is this. Your leadership signature, it stays there. Like your leadership signature, it's always on. Your presence almost speaks before you do. So this is things like your posture, the way you hold yourself, the way you engage with people, your availability. So that presence is not just your physical presence, it comes into your availability, your accessibility. Because your absence also speaks. If people can't trust you, if they don't feel trusted, if there's no consistency in your message, if you never follow through, if you're never available, all of those kinds of things also point towards your leadership signature. And the important thing for you to recall is that people remember, this is so important, people remember how you made them feel. They remember how you made them feel rather or instead of the words that you've said. Yes, they'll remember the words, but the most important thing is how you made them feel, because that leaves them with a little bit of emotional residue. Now, our leadership signature is actually created by who you are in the moment, who you're being right now, today, in every single moment of today. It's not about who you intend to be. This isn't aspirational. Your leadership signature is who you are right now. And the whole culture of your team And potentially your business or your organization is shaped by that signature. It depends on your role, your responsibility, and where you have the ability to be influencing others. Yeah. The second point is this: you leave that emotional footprint behind you. Every interaction, every single interaction either creates a feeling of safety, a feeling of trust, or it builds that tension or that frustration. Every interaction. Now, that's really easy for us to forget. So that what happens when you rush, when you interrupt, when you're multitasking, what happens then is that you devalue people and they feel small. I worked with a manager once who would be typing away like this, and someone would come and ask her a question, and she would keep typing and kind of chuck the answer over to them. The team did not like it because they didn't feel as though what was important to them was important to her at all. If what you do is slow down, you listen, you establish eye contact, you turn, you look at them, you're demonstrating exactly how important they are. You're calm and you help them to understand that they feel very valued by you. So it's those simple things that leave the emotional footprint. And that brings us to point 3, which is about what I call the silly little vitally important moments that shape your reputation. So much of what we do in our communication, so much of what we do as leaders comes down to these silly little vitally important things. They seem to be silly and little, but they pile up really quickly and they matter to people that we're interacting with. Things like this: 2-minute hallway chat, how you are, whether you're prepared to stop, the attention that you pay people. Silly little vitally important moment. How you react under pressure. Now, it might be that what you need to do when you first are under pressure is kind of blow off steam for a bit. Might only be 30 seconds. But people notice silly little vitally important things. The side comments that you might be making. The fact that you're not paying attention on a Zoom call. The eye contact or the eye rolls. The lack of eye contact. The tone that you have. Often when we're on a screen with a whole bunch of other people at a meeting, we forget that we're still creating that leadership signature, that people are actually noticing our behavior. Silly little vitally important things. And all of these things are the kinds of things that write your signature in ink. You know, it's not just a faint pencil. This is you developing and writing your signature. It's those 5-second behaviors when you interrupt. Do you follow through? Are you actually listening? Are you focused on the person and on the task? Because really what it comes down to is that our team and others either trust us or they don't trust us based on these silly little vitally important things, often called micro signals. This is kind of the vibey stuff that we pick up from people. And if we notice an eye roll today, we're going to be looking to see if that eye roll is still there tomorrow, the next day, the next week. Because for others, every single interaction is a data point that reveals your leadership signature, your leadership DNA, so to speak. Yeah? Silly little vitally important things. Now we think we're getting away with those things and we're actually not. So that may well be something that you can really start to focus on. We'll do some reflection a bit later on, and that will help you to determine, where do I need to be with this? Okay, point 4, consistency builds credibility. Now, we want you to have credibility, to be respected, and to have authority as a leader. That's the kind of thing that we're talking about all the time in leadership intelligence and, this toolbox of skills around being a leader and a communicator. Other people trust what's predictable. They want to know that this is going to be consistent. And so you trust that the trust that others have in you will grow with the words that you use, with the values that you talk to, with the actions. And those words, those values, and those actions need to align, particularly when you're under stress. And we were just talking about that silly little vitally important, how you react under pressure. So those words, the values, and the actions must align, particularly when you're under stress. Because when there's inconsistency in your behaviors, what you're doing is creating confusion. And when you create that confusion, you dilute your authority. Now, this doesn't mean that you have to be perfect. It's not about being perfect. And a lot of people, a lot of my coaching clients would say to me, I don't ever want to be predictable. How boring is predictable? That doesn't mean that everything has to be exactly the same, but there must be some core behaviors so that you can build that trust in your team, and they know when they come to you about this thing, they learn from you that this is how you're going to respond to it. But what they also need to know when you hand those jobs over to them to do, what they need to know is that this is how you think about those things, and this is what you would likely do, so that there's that kind of framework that says this is the way we do these kinds of things around here. When there's inconsistency, you're contributing to people's anxiety. What they need you to be with your consistency is human, to be authentic, and to be doing that 24/7. Not just when it feels good to do, but to be consistent when you're at work so that they understand. Yep. 5th thing, what does your signature say about you? Let's have a look at some of these. What does your signature say about you? If you're calm, then what you're doing is building trust. You're helping people, your team, to feel safe. If we're talking about this in a relationship or in a parenting context, same thing, safety and trust. People will feel comfortable coming to you because they know that you're not going to overreact. Silly little vitally important moments they'll have watched when they know someone's coming to talk to you about something that perhaps you're going to be unhappy about. If you can stay calm and respond rather than react, you're building that sense of safety, you're building that sense of trust. So if your signature is about chaos, if there's a lot of chaotic behaviors, then that's contributing to people's anxiety, and there's a lot of instability that people will be feeling because of that. Chaos, don't know what's happening next, don't like it, don't know what's expected of us, got no idea, like it's always a mess here. You don't want your team to be anxious. You don't want them to feel as though things are always changing. So think about the impact of that chaotic signature. When your leadership signature is around clarity, then what you're able to do is to provide your team with direction as a team overall, but certainly as individuals. And the really awesome thing about providing clarity is that when you've got clarity and you've given clarity, it's much easier for you to be able to hold your team accountable. If there's no clarity, if there's chaos, no way can you hold your team accountable. Because what we know, remember, is that accountability is based on outcomes achieved, not on being busy, not on outputs. It's about the outcomes that have been achieved. If your leadership signature is one of defensiveness, and you back up and look to blame other people all the time and won't own your own behaviors, then what you're doing is building that mistrust. You're putting a distance between yourself and your team. And if you're not careful, that distance will be so much that it will be really hard for you to bridge it. And I've worked with leaders who've started to widen that gap. And luckily, we've been able to put a halt to that and move that connection back. Because what they've understood is that they don't have to over-justify everything. They don't have to be defensive. They need to lean back and let their team, through clarity and through calm, they need to let their team meet the expectations that they have. If your leadership signature is one of curiosity, remembering questions are the answer. If you've got that curiosity there and you're looking to identify how could things be done better, you're asking questions and encouraging people or empowering people to come up with the solutions themselves, then what you're building is trust. What you're building is rapport, and there's a lot of opportunities for collaboration in there. Remember that your leadership signature is an indication of your ability to regulate your own emotions. And so that's really what becomes your brand. Yeah. Let's look now at some really practical tools. I've got 4 of these today for you, some really practical tools to shape this signature that you can put into action immediately. The first one is this. It's a one-word intention. So have a think. What is one word today that you want people to feel after an interaction with you? What's that one word? So set that intention. I want people to feel informed. Set that intention and lean into that all day, making sure that they're informed. I want people to feel safe. Lean into that all day. Yeah. Now you might have to start with some words that feel a little bit more distant, like informed to begin with. It will depend on the existing rapport that you have with your team. But think, what is that one word intention? So that's the first tool. The second one is what I call a 30-second reset. And this is actually quite simple. And in my experience, it works in all areas of your life. Before you walk into a room, before you walk into a meeting, just pause, and just reset that energy. Think about the energy that you want to bring to this particular meeting. Now, if the meeting is being held in your office, get up, shake yourself off a little bit, take 30 seconds just to reset yourself so you can let go of the energy from that previous meeting and bring this new energy to this meeting. Yeah, that's the second tip. The third one is what I call fast repair. And I think this is really important. Whether it's about your leadership signature or whether it's just about any communication that you're doing, when you slip up, when you stuff up, when you make a mistake, own that really quickly. And that might be as simple as saying, oh, hey, I'm really sorry, my tone was a bit off then. Let me reset. Own those errors as quickly as you possibly can so that people can see you're wanting to change, you're wanting to make a positive impact, and that you understand that your signature is about how you make people feel and what they're saying about you once you've left the room. So the fourth one, the final one here, is what I call a consistency reflection. So at the end of each day, just very quickly, it shouldn't take you more than 30 seconds to a minute. Ask yourself this one question. Did my behavior match the leader I'm committed to being today? Did my behavior match the leader I'm committed to being today? So those 4 tools will help you to build that leadership signature so that it reflects the way that you want to be. Yeah? Remembering that your leadership signature is all about who you are in the moment. Okay, I've got 3 now reflection questions for you. Now, these reflection questions are designed to help you to go a little bit deeper with what we're working on. So we're talking about this leadership signature. So we're going to go a little bit deeper by asking these 3 questions. The first one is this. What one word do you want your leadership signature to be known for? What's one word? What one word leadership signature would you love to be known for? So is it authentic? Is it approachable? I don't know. Have a think about that. Now, it's going to change over time. So don't get worried if you're thinking, it must look like this. Yeah, it's okay. So you can change it, because the second question is this. How can I bring this word to life today? With my tone, with the pace of what I'm saying, with my presence, how can I actually bring this word to life? So how can I be more authentic? How can I be more fun? How can I be more, whatever your word is, joyful? How can I be? Yeah. One of the things that we can suffer from when we're parents and when we're leaders, one of the very real things we can suffer from is that we take ourselves way too seriously. So what one word parent signature would I love to be known for? Joyful, laughter. Think about it from that perspective as well, so that this applies to all areas of your life. The third question I'd like you to reflect on is this one. Where does your signature drift? Where does it shift to? Where does it default to when you're under pressure? When you become maybe a bit sharper, a bit withdrawn, or a bit rushed? So think about where it goes to, because if you understand where it's going to, then those 4 tools that I shared with you earlier, you can start to apply them in that situation. You know what you're looking out for, yeah? So let's do a bit of a summary about what we've covered today. Our leadership signature is all about what people feel after every interaction with us, not just what they hear. Those silly little vitally important things really matter. They're really important. And our intentional presence, when we determine this is the signature that we're going to create, that's what actually works to create a really powerful influence for you. So thank you for joining us today. Questions and comments can go in the platform that you're watching this on. If you're watching it on replay, hashtag replay is awesome. If you've got any questions or you're thinking about what a great topic might be, let us know and we'll get back to you. If you're someone who sees the value and really wants to develop a leadership signature because you feel as though you're not impactful or influential as a leader, reach out. There's a link at the bottom of the screen and there's a link that will go in the comments. Just reach out and we'll have a chat about how I might be able to assist you. Thank you so much. I'll see you next week. Bye now.